Alright, so this is fascinating. The story is picked up by IGN, and it's about a video game that I already covered here called Horses. Now, as you can see, Horses is a very creepy, horror-like game that's black and white, and the entire purpose of it is to horrify. And the way that the developers describe the story is that you play as a farmhand working for this rancher, and you get to notice that something is very wrong at the farm. And so your choice is to either ignore it and continue working for the rancher, or try and investigate it. And if you try and investigate it, I guess you find out that he is a sexual freak that kidnaps people, torments them, puts a horse mask on them, and murders them in very grotesque ways. So this is not something that Hollywood has shied away from. We already have films like The Human Centipede. This is not something that video games have shied away from in the past. We have video games like Manhunt, even Postal 1 and 2 would have this type of content that I would describe as shocking. And so there used to be like a market for shocking video games, like shocking entertainment that had the sole purpose of creeping people out. Unfortunately, however, we can't have that anymore in 2025 because everything has to be corporate, everything has to be sanitized. And so one day before release, Steam decided to ban this game. Now, the way it happened is that they asked the developers for a full build. And the developers weren't prepared for that at the time, and so like they patched something together as quickly as they could in order to get past Steam review. And apparently the Steam said, no, we're not shipping this product, find someone else. Now the developers suspected like what could have triggered this, because apparently they didn't give them an accurate response, and what they found is that one of the assets that they used was of a fully clothed child. So it wasn't a kid in a sexual situation or anything, but it was a kid sitting on the shoulders of a horse. Like, again, the purpose wasn't to titillate, the purpose was to cause shock, horror, and from what I can see, like, the entire game is there to disturb people, right? To make them uncomfortable. But Steam said no. Now, the interesting thing is that the developers didn't use this picture in the main game. Like, it was in the files, they deleted it, they changed it, but it wasn't good enough, right? And so this is like one of the things that the creators were upset. It's like, look, we invested a lot of money into this game. Like, we actually wanted to make something that's apart from the time that we grew up. You know, we grew up with Manhunt. We grew up with a Serbian film. Like, we grew up with this type of shocking content. And we wanted to see if there's a market for it. And apparently IGN promoted this game. It had like 30,000 people or so interested. So, like, there was a market. But Steam said no. And so they tried on different platforms. They tried on Epic Games, and they tried on GOG. And what they found out is that, no, maybe that picture wasn't the problem. Like, maybe that's not the reason that the game got banned. From Epic Game, it seems that the decision was the fact that they didn't disclose that the video game is adult only. Like, the material there wasn't age-rated properly. Now, in their defense, yes, like, the game absolutely contains scenes of shocking nature, because, like, this, I assume, like, the serial killer murders people for pornographic reasons. But everything was pixelated, everything was banned, and it was definitely not, from what I saw in the trailer that they uploaded, it wasn't the type of game that encouraged titillation. Like, it's kind of like watching The Human Centipede. Like, you're not watching it to spank yourself, right? It's same with Manhunt. Like, Manhunt had the story, and this is a game made by Rockstar, right? The same company that made GTA. It had the story that a serial killer is actually released from prison before getting the electric chair in order to be placed in a maze with other serial killers. And you have to kill people in a very sadistic way while the rich person that did the rescue is masturbating while watching that. So it's a very disturbing game. But again, it's not pornographic. Like, it's supposed to create shock and revulsion to the player. So this game definitely did that, but apparently Epic Games says no, the adult rating should be set properly. I don't know if they have a chance to review that and set it again. But the other store, so we have a GOG, They're basically saying that the reason they banned it is because the game contains animal abuse. And so, to go back from the beginning of the story, right? You have Steam that basically says, okay, well, the game contains minors. You have another company that says that the game contains animal abuse. You have another company that says, no, you didn't age rate it properly. And so, what I actually think is happening is that it's quite possible the game contains neither of this, but it's just controversial. Like, it's just enough to cause the ick. And if it's just enough to cause the ick, they don't want the hassle, they don't want to sell it. They don't want an activist, a Karen, to write an article and to get the payment processors to intervene. And again, like, we're reaching at the level where animal abuse in a video game is a bad thing. Like, motherfucker, you know, I'm not even going to say fiction is fiction. I'm going to just say that these people are mentally retarded and deficient. Like, fantasy and escapism is okay. Yes, animal abuse in a video game is perfectly fine. Like, I don't think Pokemon is an issue. And I do think, like, there actually needs to be an outlet for degenerate, disturbing stuff in fiction. Because I grew up with that. My generation is fine, allegedly. But what is the harm? Like, we can't run a society based on vibes, based on feelings. Like, it needs to be on fact, right? Which person actually got hurt because of a video game? Like, well, no, it may, it could, it that. No. Like, which person actually got hurt because of a video game? See, the interesting thing is, like, when I grew up, there were the mental retards that were basically saying that a video game is a murder simulator. And for some fucking reason, we actually did manage to push back. We called those people morons, imbeciles, told them to go fuck themselves, and we played our video games anyway. Then we had the Anita Sarkeesians that were like, no, video games actually cause rape culture. And unfortunately, people did try to push back. Like, there was a lot of backlash against it. However, it was insufficient because they didn't actually target the customers, right? Like, they didn't try to convince the customers not to buy sexist games. They targeted the corporations. And they got through the HR and they implemented their policies anyway. And eventually, years later, the customers actually did punish these corporations and they lost a lot of money. As we can see now, like, video games, corporate video games are going bankrupt. But now there's another group of imbeciles that are basically saying, oh, well, you know, like, video games cause animal abuse. How about you go fuck yourself? Like, why are we entertaining this nonsense? Like, since when are we allowing imbeciles to dictate common sense to normal people? There are no video games that cause animal abuse. And if there is an issue, like, okay, a person, a developer managed to put, like, a character that's a child, but it was obviously a mistake, like, they were fully clothed. The moment they found out, they removed that from the game, right? They swapped the asset, all good. Why is that a problem? Now, again, this is assuming that the developers aren't lying, but I generally don't think they're lying since IGN is covering it. They uploaded the game on different platforms and they got different responses, right? So I don't think that they are lying. There's no evidence to believe that they are. And everything is vague. Like, Steam was asked for questions and they were incredibly vague about the issue. They said, yeah, we talked to the devs and we told them what's wrong. And then we explained why we're not selling the game. But, like, they didn't go into details. They didn't actually show the problem. And so what this actually ends up happening is, like, it convinces other developers that are indie to stay the fuck away from controversial issues. And if you stay the fuck away from controversial issues, you end up with sanitized shit. And there is a reason why people don't like AAA, because it's sanitized slop. Gone are the days where video games could actually push boundaries and be inventive. And, you know, maybe this game would have been shit. Like, it's quite possible. I don't think, like, it would have broken any records or anything. But, again, like, what's wrong with having a genre for people that like shocking content, that like the Beavis and Butthead, that like the original GTAs, that like the Postals? Like, why shouldn't there be content like that for people? Anyway, let me know what you guys think. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.